career for you, or is it a first career, or?
Hey guys, so I hit the button so people can hear us now. She was just asking me about because I had mentioned I was going to apply to law school, but we're going to read over the Stephanie Jones stuff, but we'll just chat for a second first because I have some questions for her as well. So my bachelor's was in psych, my master's was in criminology, and then I went on to start because I wanted to get my PhD in forensic psychology. I started another program, and then I decided that wasn't for me. But I still worked in psych. I just didn't want to be a psychologist and take on the family business or whatever. I was like, this is just not for me. And so I didn't really know what I was going to do. Didn't really have a direction. I was just like, I know that I fit here. I know that I'm good at what I'm doing here when I worked at the hospital. So that was just it for a while. And so then I just
do at the hospital.
What's that?
What role did you do at the hospital, did you say?
So I was at a couple of different places, but the last one that I had, I was there for a few years. I was the emergency evaluator in the emergency room. So like when the involuntary psych patients came in, I would have to see them, talk to them, and then tell the doctors like, we have to keep this person here, or they can leave.
You triage and you figure out what the 100%. That is valiant work. You have probably seen a lot of cool. You have some stories under your belt. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I can't tell you most of them because rules. But
you can get around. I mean, you have to just really like figure it out. Yeah,
I've talked about things like vaguely sometimes, but all the really cool stories are stuff that if just on the very off chance that somebody were to see it like
and
locally,
you just don't want to. Yeah,
and they caught on to like, oh, I remember seeing that in the news a while ago. That could get me in a lot of trouble. So I would never.
And also, you just you're like, I probably shouldn't air their their crisis.
Yeah. Somebody says, is this meant to be live? No. Oh my God, are we live?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But no, so I did that for a while and I didn't really have a direction. But then when I started doing all this, I started covering a different case than this one. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have gone to law school because my next step after leaving the forensic psych program was I applied to law school, got in, didn't go, decided I was going to defer a year. And then COVID happened. I briefly was engaged. And so I just put it on hold and I never went back. So then I recently decided, maybe I'm going to try again. I have to take the LSAT again and I have to reapply. Obviously, it's been 7 years, but So
how was the LSAT?
It wasn't really that bad. There was one section that I really fucking hated. But it wasn't that bad. I took like one of those courses where you study for it and it was
I thought about just like diving in raw. Like, is that weird? Like,
no, I took the first time I took it. I
just take it and see like where.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that once. The first time I took it, I didn't study or anything. I didn't know what to expect. I was just like, okay,
yeah,
let's try this. Yeah.
No, that's so awesome. Like literally, that's so cool. This whole situation is making me go, this is interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've never thought about a career like this. But then also you're like, or I could pivot and just talk gossip. But that also feels kind of trashy sometimes,
I know what you mean. And I think that some people kind of feel that way. But the way that people call things like that trashy, it depends on whether or not they agree with what you're saying. So it's really a matter of who's watching.
I think that's true. I think when I say trashy, that's probably the worst word to use for it. But
that is what people say. So
it's just, it just ends up being like this. It's a fine line between holding up your values, but also talking shit,
Yeah. Oh, I know. I walk that every day.
I walk it every day.
Yeah. But that's what I like about all this. It's different than I was so restricted in what I felt like I could say to so many people who I was like, if you could just get your life together, if you just did this one thing, you could get your life together. And I could never say that. And now I can say whatever the fuck I want and nobody can tell me what to do. So, I still have a regular job, but doing this is a good outlet for me, I feel like. So.
Me as well. Anyway, it's been an interesting thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Blake Lively hadn't subpoenaed me, we would not be having a conversation about me possibly going to law school. So.
You know what? I am so glad that I did not have a YouTube when all that was going on.
Well, she subpoenaed TikTok as well, and she subpoenaed X. So
I don't think I was even. I still don't even think I got to 10K before. So even if they tried,
oh no, she subpoenaed people with no monetization, 1 subscriber.
But they wouldn't have. But they wouldn't have like your information. Like they didn't even ask.
They don't have your info. Well, I mean, she was asking for like login keystrokes and like password logins and stuff like that. I don't know if she asked for passwords exactly, but it was stuff that every account would have. So it was pretty bizarre. So it was non-monetized accounts. A lot of these were non-monetized accounts. that she subpoenaed these people, and she did it that way, expecting that most people either A, wouldn't know how to fight it, B, wouldn't find out about it, or C, would assume that the large social media corporations who have an interest in protecting their users, because it would be a very bad press if they let that go, would fight it for them. So I feel like that's why she did it that way.
I was leaning towards, I think she thought nobody would find out about it.
Yeah, because her lawyers are very dodgy. When I reached out to them multiple times, Ezra Hudson was very dodgy, and they outright lied to at least one or two people who called and asked about it. And they said, well, Ezra's trying to figure it out. No, Ezra Hudson, if you issue a subpoena and you sign it and you ask for this information, you absolutely know that you issued that subpoena. And if you didn't, you know that you didn't. There's no contemplating. There's no thinking about it. You can say yes or no right now. And the only reason you wouldn't do it is because you're a fucking asshole, and so is your client, and you want to punish people who are saying things about her that she doesn't like. So
the only time that I've called over there was for the recording, when we were all like, where's this at? Like, let's figure it. So I was like,
Clark got that, right?
Yeah, Clark. Yeah, Clark. Yes, he's planning to go in tomorrow, actually, to go get it. So
does he live in New York?
He is. I don't know much more than that. But he is in New York, and I think he's busy. So I think he's probably feeling some pressure for people. So just leave him alone. He'll get it. When there's enough to read through, everybody. We've got a lot to work through. So
right. Well, I'm not going to bother Clark, but all right. Let me pull up what we actually were supposed to discuss, which was this Stephanie Jones opposition to the motion for summary judgment. So Jennifer Abel kind of put Stephanie Jones in between a rock and a hard place, right? So she's in this situation where Stephanie Jones and Blake Lively, as we know, the logical conclusion, which I guess we have to say is still an allegation, is that Blake Lively and Stephanie Jones have been like holding hands under the table this whole time and have been working together. But this motion for summary judgment kind of put her in a situation where if the judge agrees with Jennifer Abel's motion, then Stephanie Jones now has a vested interest in, Blake Lively not winning against Jennifer Abel, because she would then have to kind of pay for it, is my understanding of the situation. I'm not a lawyer, so I might get some things wrong, but so this was kind of an interesting situation there. And then I saw also some of the declaration that she had filed in support of her motion for spoliation sanctions, where she came out and said Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was behind the smear campaign against her, which is hilarious.
I hope that he is. And I hope, I honestly may reach out to Dwayne and let's see what he has to say about it, because I'm sure he's like, yeah, fuck that chick. Like, she's the worst.
Well, it sounds like it. I mean, somebody did testify to it. And Stephanie Jones, I don't know, when she filed this lawsuit, it was initially in New York State court, the Jones versus Abel action. And I'm not talking about this one, because this here was filed in the Lively case, but I'm talking about the stuff with The Rock in the websites. That's in the Jones versus Abel case, which when it was filed in state court, named John Doe's 1 through 10. And I don't know if the John Doe's 1 through 10 carried over when it moved to the federal court. So the John Doe's
PSD of John Doe's 1 through 10.
I know what you mean. But the John Doe's 1 through 10 were placeholders for the people who were responsible for these websites and who were defaming her per her, account through these websites. And I guess if the John Doe's 1 through 10, still stands and they're still trying to find out who's behind these websites, through discovery, it seems they found out that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was one of the people responsible for this stuff. And so he would now, I guess, be named as one of those people. That's my understanding of this. But I don't know. We would have to ask one of the attorneys who covers this. And there's a lot of them, and they do a good job. I just haven't had a chance to talk to anyone today because there's been so much going on. But he might end up in that lawsuit, is my kind of understanding of the situation right now. Because Katie Case, who worked for Melissa Nathan, said, we did this at the direction or working with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So, yeah.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, but I could be wrong about that. So let's keep that in mind. Leave a little wiggle room for me to be wrong.
Grain of salt. We get it. Grain of salt. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. That is insane. That is so exciting.
I mean, it's kind of terrible, but yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. All right, so we're going to read through some of this. So this starts out pretty hot. Stephanie Jones really doesn't like Jennifer Abel. I think she hates Melissa Nathan a little bit more, but she really doesn't like Jennifer Abel. And let me ask you just real quick, and I think you kind of answered this for me before, but since nobody was listening at that time, you've read through this?
Yeah, so I read through it. Yep, I've read through, and honestly, yes, Jennifer. So Jen Abel and Stephanie Jones, I think they have a mutual liking, but Stephanie Jones for sure effing hates Melissa Nathan. There
Right.
is, and as soon as Jen Abel got into bed with Melissa Nathan, that was when we were no longer kosher. So I don't know where the relationship got muddied. I don't know. It sounds like I don't know what Melissa Nathan's reputation is, but have you seen the things with Jed Wallace where it seems like they kind of have been in cahoots with a lot of the manipulation, and I'm not really sure what exactly her role is in the PR world, but it seems like she's got a reputation for herself.
Melissa Nathan,
Yeah.
well, she worked on Johnny Depp, so
Mm.
yeah, that's why she gets that reputation. But I haven't seen the stuff about Jed's involvement with Stephanie Jones stuff in particular. I haven't, because there was so much that came out at once, and then there was like a lull, right? And then there was Thanksgiving, and then I got sick, and then there was another wave of information. So I was like, I'm playing catch up so hard.
No.
Yeah.
Well, so let me talk you through it. So there was actually, so docket 874, I think it was previously redacted, and then on Thanksgiving it got unsealed. But actually, right before all of this came out yesterday, they also filed the unredacted versions. And so there are text messages between Melissa Nathan and Jed Wallace as well that came from Street Relations, the audit that they did with all of that. That they filed it with the Blake Lively motion for summary judgment. However, it is text messages about SEO manipulation, things going back and forth about how they are creating their own algorithms, how they kind of have set up their own system together, and they've worked together on a lot of different projects with a lot of redacted celebrity names.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. No, I didn't see that.
You go, this is a little bit, I think this is what came from the Jed Wallace action because they included it in a footnote, but that's kind of getting a little, yeah.
We know Blake and Jed were both dismissed against each other in both states, so it's kind of interesting now. That like,
So
I wonder if she'll, I wonder if she'll try to refile in Texas, because she does seem that invested in her story there. But obviously, if this doesn't go her way, she's not going to then try to sue Jed Wallace. You know what I mean? So
I think she would do it in California if she was going to.
Yeah, but if this doesn't end up, if the judge dismisses like a lot of this because of the summary judgment, I don't think she's going to go after Jed Wallace then, because that would be pointless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But or at least that's my understanding of it. But yeah, no, that's Jed Wallace is interesting in that he's this apparently, now we know, but he's like not a public figure. There's like no pictures of the guy on the internet, like one picture. I think on like LinkedIn, he's kind of like he is kind of a shadow character the way they describe him, but that doesn't mean he's a bad, shady person. It just means he's not a very public person, and he runs his business kind of discreetly, which is what you want, I feel like, in a crisis PR person.
I compare him to the type that my husband is, where he's like, don't put me on the internet. What on earth would that be? Like, get me away from anything public. Like, he's like, why are you putting photos of us on? You know what I mean? He's like, come on, your grandma wants to see a photo of you. Like, let's go. Come on.
What is up with people's husbands? I have so many friends who like their husbands are like, I don't want to be seen online.
It's straight men. I don't know what it is. It's something.
I don't know, but one day I want to have a stream where I just talk to my friends' husbands, and they're not allowed to say anything. And I ask them all these questions about the things that my friends have said about them.
Every once in a while, you might see a hand pop in, and I'm like, that's his hand. You'll see it, you know? Anyways, but no, that's why. So coming back to what we're talking about here, you guys, that's why I think Melissa Nathan maybe has a little bit, I don't know what her reputation is, but I think we're finding out more through these filings, a little bit more about what exactly her role is in the PR world. But for sure, Stephanie Jones does not like her. She is not keen to be like, yep, let's be
hate each other.
Yeah.
And I think those two hating each other was ultimately probably the, like the first domino, I feel like. Because there was a truce. Everybody involved didn't like each other, but there was a truce. And then hiring Melissa Nathan was the thing that broke Stephanie Jones's brain.
Yeah.
So
I am with you.
But anyways, yeah. This is all about Jennifer Abel, though, and it'll mention Melissa Nathan, of course, because they work together, and she's mad that Jen recommended Melissa Nathan. But this is about Jen, who's trying to say that Stephanie Jones and Jones Works are responsible if she's found that, that she has to pay anything to Blake Lively. She's responsible for that. They would have to pay it on her behalf if Jen Abel got her way. So she starts out saying Jennifer Abel is speaking out of both sides of her mouth, which is okay. That's a strong start. She denies engaging in any of the conduct that Lively alleges gives rise to Abel's liability for the retaliatory smear campaign described in Lively's complaint, but simultaneously argues that the actions she admits to entitle her to indemnification. Indemnification. That's a word I am still not familiar with. So, yeah.
Let me point you. The best part is at the bottom here, and it says
the bottom.
Yes. So it says no. So, not so. Not only did Abel not know that the digital campaign was far outside the bounds of Jones Works' ethos, but she also knew that Jones Works expressly object to the crisis PR tactics employed by Melissa Nathan. So she is basically saying, and that was a theme kind of throughout this document, is that Stephanie Jones and Jones Works doesn't do crisis PR. They aren't a crisis PR team.
Right. Okay. So that's, obviously true. Let's see. If that alone were not fatal to Abel's motion, at the same time Abel was engaging in the conduct Lively alleges, she was also working against Jones Works' interests and for her own. She was conspiring with Nathan to facilitate a business insider kill story against Jones Works and its founder and CEO, Stephanie Jones. She was working behind her employer's back and over Jones Works' objection to recommend that Wayfarer Studios and Justin Baldoni retain Nathan for the exact crisis PR that resulted in Lively's claims against Abel. And she was plotting her departure from Jones Works, surreptitiously creating her own competing PR company and pilfering Jones Works clients, employees, and confidential documents for her competitive gain. Okay. An employee in name only, Abel was a double agent, defying Jones Works' instructions, and that's redacted, and deliberately cutting Stephanie Jones, the CEO, out of the crisis strategy so she could steal them as clients and conceal her participation in a nefarious campaign she knew Jones Works would never condone. Thoughts on that?
It's honestly, that she would never condone, huh? I think it's rich. I think that is so rich. She wouldn't condone it under certain conditions, and you know it. That is the only thing. So she is turning against her. She's playing double agent.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah. Hang on one second. I'm trying to respond to someone in chat. I thought I could do that faster than I did. Anyways, so she, what I feel like they're saying she played double agent and she was acting in her own interest. I do feel like a lot of this was above board, though, in a way that they're kind of painting it as if she were, going behind their back and all that shit. But she did, talk to Stephanie about what was going on. She knew there was a ceasefire with Blake and her publicist, and then Stephanie insisted on inserting herself. Whereas, Jen Abel was like, I'm the person who is in charge of the Wayfarer account. I have been this entire time. And she's working for the client, giving the client what they want. And it's weird that the CEO, who, mind everyone in the chat, was at this time apparently acting in a manner that most people described as manic.
Manic. Love that.
Yeah. So they described it as manic because she was doing all sorts of crazy things and saying her psychic said all this stuff. Anyways, it's interesting that the CEO, who was apparently not in a well mental state, was insisting on stuff. The client said, no, I don't want that. So at that point, it becomes Jen Abel, as the main person on that account and who has been working for them the whole time, is going to try to act in their best interests. But her boss says, I don't want you to work with Melissa Nathan. I don't want you to do this or that. But the client says, we do want this. She brings it to the client. The client says, yes, this is what we want. So it's kind of like, it's weird. So I do see kind of the playing both sides angle, but at the same time, it's like, if you have a boss who is, and this is assuming, I wasn't there, so I can't say for sure. This is assuming what she says is true. If she has a boss who is unwell and acting against the best interests of the client and the business. And she's just trying to do the best job she can. Like, I feel like that's a really hard position to be in.
It's a very hard position. And honestly, I'm going to say the first thing that comes to mind is this Alex Sachs situation. It's the same situation here, guys. It is the same stance that I took and I will take. It's that literally if you are in an employment situation where you are an employee and you are working for someone and they are not acting in your best interest, or there is something that makes you uncomfortable or you don't feel well, you do not have to stay there. You need to go. So Jen Abel should have left if she was in a poor position with Stephanie Jones. If they're like at some point, if the work environment becomes toxic, you need to remove yourself, because you trying to change that work environment, especially if it's their company. She's not going to fire Stephanie Jones. That's what Alex Sachs the whole time was like, oh yeah, but replace the director. And you're like, no, he owns Wayfair. Like, you can't do that. Like, you just can't. He hired you. Like, that's not how that works. So,
well, Alex Sachs is an interesting character I don't know too much about yet. And this is something I've said all day today, which is, well, first of all, what she alleges happened with her and Justin has nothing to do with Blake. It doesn't meet the criteria for sexual harassment at all. First of all, it's a she said this scenario where there's no hard evidence or whatever. But if, they had to turn over all this film and discovery, if that's true, I'm sure there would be clips of it. So where are they? Like, we saw clips of what Justin said in his motion for summary judgment. Where are the fucking clips? Right? Because apparently, as Blake said, they were filming at all times against her knowledge. So why is this not on camera?
Why is this not on camera? Where's that Zoom meeting where he yelled? Because apparently he records the Zoom meetings, I
don't know if they ever had to submit something like that or not, as far as the Zoom meetings go. This is the first time
I thought Zooms automatically record. Like, that's how they got the Skyline audio that Clark's going to go get tomorrow.
Yeah. The Skyline thing. The Skyline thing is so weird because all Skyline did was build a website, as they're supposed to, that held court documents on it.
Well, I see where Blake tried to go. I'll give it to her, right? She was like, surely they had to see some of the evidence and surely they had something, but she just wanted to see those messages. And
my response to that would be that, just like the New York Times, the Skyline agency there acted within the privilege of, like, this was in a court document. We're allowed to treat this as fact. What we did was that we didn't spread defamatory information knowingly, like anything like that. We just posted a court document online. So I feel like they're protected from that, but they're trying to say somehow that Wayfair going to Skyline agency and what they did by making that website was somehow part of a defamatory smear campaign. And I'm like, that doesn't, by the litigation privilege that you have invoked, that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Well, just even from the things that, like, honestly, valiant on Stephanie Jones, because you can see, look at how fantastic this motion for summary, like, look at that one redaction. Isn't that nice? The one redaction here, that's like, wow, we can read this page. Like,
there's not like 40 pages.
It's not like blank, this blank. They manipulated everything, and so it is. What they're doing is they're even if Skyline was like, whatever, take it all. Why are you subpoenaing us? Right? In the end, they're taking that information, they're manipulating it and using it against them. So,
okay,
I get it.
All right, let's see here.
Sorry, we're off. There's just so much, right?
No, this is we're basically just having a long conversation. I'm not that structured when I'm talking to other people, so no worries there.
Well, and we didn't have notes going into this, so we probably should.
Oh no, that's my bad too. Because like sometimes I wing it, and sometimes I'm very organized. There's no in between.
Literally, you guys, it was like I texted Lauren this morning. I was like, "Hey, you want to live today?" And she was like, "Cool, I'm already doing one tonight." I was like, "Chill, all right, I'll join." And then she's like, "Want to run a little late?" And I was like, "Cool, let's do that." That's all. And then we're here. So,
yeah. All right, let's see. So she is saying common law indemnification requires that an employee bear no responsibility for the actions engaged in. The employee must have acted strictly within the scope of her employment. The opposite is true here. Abel charted her own malicious and treacherous course for personal gain against the clear instruction and expectations of her workplace. She actively concealed her act from Jones Works, and she cannot now seek refuge behind that employer for her betrayal. At a minimum, the overwhelming evidence of Abel's deceit, concealment, and self-interest present issues of disputed material fact that preclude summary judgment. Her motion should be denied. So here's where I do actually think that they did a good job here. Because what she did was against what Stephanie Jones wanted. It was against what her employer said they wanted.
Yes.
But the thing that I feel like is kind of muddying that for me, and I'm only talking from a public opinion standpoint, obviously not from a legal standpoint. I'm not an attorney, but the thing that muddies it for me is like Stephanie Jones, from all accounts that we've seen, did not appear to be in the right state of mind. So that is something that I feel like could come into play, but of course, that is something that should probably go to trial, not be dismissed on summary judgment.
I agree. I think that she makes pretty good arguments to make it past this stage.
Yeah. And I said the same thing with some stuff in Blake's response. Like, I don't necessarily think that I believe anything that she's saying. I don't think that she, I think that Wayfair deserves to have their day in court and be heard. And obviously, I hope a jury, finds that they are not liable for the stuff that she's claiming they did. But I feel like some of it does belong in front of a jury. So that's not to say that Wayfair was guilty of anything or they sexually harassed her in any way. I just feel like some of this stuff does belong in the court in front of the jury. And it doesn't deserve to be dismissed right away. Because if we do that, just because of the way people are described on the papers here, that has negative implications for other people with less power who are in similar situations, say at an office job, where they make accusations against an employer or something like that. I feel like that has negative connotations for people in those situations. If we're just like, we can dismiss this right away and it doesn't matter. I feel like we have to kind of take these things into account and say, no, a jury needs to hear this and a jury needs to decide. So
100%. And yeah, I do think that there needs to be people that come through and that it's not just, I think it's too muddy. It's too muddy. They do need a jury for sure. And I think that in the end, there are things that it's so different between, we need to hear the testimony, I think, of all the people involved and the people around them, because it seems to be just this back and forth. And I do think it's still nefarious about how Stephanie Jones obtained the messages. And I think that's why this whole indemnification thing started even too. But in the end, it's coming down to, that's a big deal to have to pay for everything. Like that's a big deal. And I mean, I know Stephanie Jones, people don't seem to like her. I don't know her. I don't know anything. You know what I mean? It's like, who's Stephanie Jones? But in the end, is that something that I would wish on somebody? Probably not, but
well, just visit StephanieJonesLies.com, I would say, but I guess The Rock's website got disabled, so we can't do that now.
That's fine. I think Amanda Ghost is still up, right? Or no?
So the Rebel Wilson Amanda Ghost stuff, I don't totally understand all of that. Ashley was trying to explain it to me. What the heck just happened?
I don't. Oh my gosh! Did you just hear it? So
it's okay. No, dude, whatever. Anyways, I don't understand all that. Ashley, Brianna, Eve tried to explain some of that to me. And it was a long time ago, but then so much stuff started coming up in this case again. I was like, well, now we have to postpone it. And then I just never got caught up on that. So
yeah. No, 100% understand.
All right. So we're not going to read through this word for word, I think, especially because you've already read it. But the background here, they're talking about Jonesworks' representation of Baldoni and Wayfair. We've heard a lot about this, so I don't need to.
So yeah, I think the notes that I kind of had through the arguments start a little further down. So some of the bigger moments were like, okay, yeah, Jonesworks says we're not a crisis PR firm.
Right.
Then I put through, there's allegations that Abel hid that she was working with Tag and Melissa Nathan. But again, we need to have that testimony. We need to know exactly.
Do you remember which part of the document that was in?
Keep going. I don't.
Let me see. This is just the background. So Jonesworks hires Jen Abel, blah, blah, blah. So we can skip past the contract stuff and all that.
Yes. It's more.
Abel advised Wayfair hire Nathan over Jones' objection.
Yes.
Could that be it?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Reports began to surface of tension between Baldoni and cast members. Jones gave Wayfair recommendations for crisis PR firms. Okay, so she gave a whole list of them, but Abel did not tell Jones that it was Abel herself who recommended Wayfair bring on a crisis firm. Huh.
And this is where like the muddying becomes between Melissa Nathan and Jen Abel. And then it's like the Stephanie's like, but I will say too, like, think about it from a company standpoint. So Stephanie Jones and Jones Works are employed or are in cahoots with Wayfair, right?
Yeah.
And they're working together. Think about, oh, we just want to work with Jen Abel now. Oh, yeah. Like that kind of transitions always seemed kind of awkward to me. And I wasn't really sure how all that happened. Okay. There was some text messages between Stephanie Jones and like Jamie Heath where he's like, hey, shit's hitting the fan. And she's like, sorry, I'm on vacation. Like, this is what I would do, I guess. Do you remember reading those messages?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm not positive.
Okay. There were a couple of those where kind of came up a little bit further on. And that kind of sealed where I was thinking, hey, why is Stephanie Jones, how did that relationship end? And how did that termination end? And that's when you started to see the Jones Works emails come through of like, hey, we're still employed. This is our contract. And then there was those other kind of battles where they were like, well, Jen Abel knows our situation better and she seems to be handling it better. Therefore, we want to go with her. And so I'm not sure how that relationship fully ended. Maybe people in the comments can kind of tell us more.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Abel knew Jones no longer wanted Jones Works to work with Nathan, and that Jones believed Nathan's practices went against Jones Works' ethos of positive publicity. Okay, well, that's where I kind of draw the line. Jones Works' ethos of positive publicity.
Ethos. Love the ethos term, yes.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson didn't just make websites or ask for websites with information about Stephanie Jones for no reason, or negative press about Stephanie Jones for no reason. When she was, I guess their relationship was being terminated, Stephanie Jones allegedly put out horrible articles and press about him. So she was behind that. He was her soon-to-be ex-client, and she was trying to ruin his career.
Okay.
So I don't believe that Jones Works' ethos of positive publicity is an accurate description of things.
Not at all.
Because we now have multiple people who are saying the opposite. Multiple high-profile people. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a little bit of a self-compliment there that doesn't really track. Okay, let's see. Abel pitched Wayfair to Nathan. Okay. Blah, blah, we knew that. We don't need to talk about the stuff here too much because we've been over this forever, but Tag sent its proposed scope basically to Jen Abel rather than sending it to her Jones Works email address. She sent it to the RWA email address, which is, a thing that I honestly can't say how that's going to go as far as like proving that she was acting in her own interest or not. Because she was also using her personal phone number and shit like that. And there's a lot about PR that I don't understand as far as, what they're doing in the background. So is it sending it to her RWA email address when she has already, at this point, has she announced her plan to leave, I think? And she's still taking Wayfair with her as a client. Like, is that weird? I don't know. Is my question. And I don't remember the
PR, but that seems weird.
I don't know the date that she gave her resignation, which is why I'm having such a hard time with this, I think.
No, I think she did give her resignation. She gave like a 30, like a full, like a full transition.
Okay, so remember reading that. To me, that's not weird then, because Wayfair has decided that they're going to go with Jen Abel to her new place as a client, and she's going to be working continuously with Tag. So I don't find it that weird that she's having them send it to her RWA email address rather than Jones Works, because they're not really going to be working with Jones Works, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah. And so
there's some stuff in here that seems ambiguous, but this does not seem to be one of those things because she's already announced her departure to me. So that to me is like a little bit, it makes it a little bit more clear. But when I first started thinking about that, I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. That's a problem. But I guess if she already said I'm leaving and Wayfair has already said we're going to go with Jen, then it is what it is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Nevertheless, when Jones learned Wayfair was considering hiring Nathan, she immediately cautioned Wayfair that, and this is redacted, but we've seen the text messages that Stephanie sent Tara Hanks, the president of Wayfair Studios. And it was just saying, like, Melissa Nathan is a shady character. You don't want her in Justin's orbit, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so she did send that message. Jones warned Baldoni, also, I guess, in particular, that she was worried not only about Nathan, but also the people Nathan works with. Okay. Jones further told Hanks and Heath that she believed Nathan was behind negative attack websites and social media profiles about Jones that had appeared online beginning in May 2024. So these negative attack websites and social media profiles apparently were seeded in an issue with Dwayne Johnson. But what I will say here about this, and I think this is where this issue that I was talking about earlier really comes into play. When you have somebody who was apparently acting completely manic and strange to her employees, not sleeping, messaging, calling in the middle of the night, calling them to check in to make sure they were actually sick, or where they said they were when they were off of work, saying that her psychic told her that Jen Abel was going to get pregnant with twins when Jen Abel was having fertility issues, and just like basically acting like a nut job. When you hear something like that, from somebody who is acting not themselves, who is acting unwell, how seriously do you take those statements? Is where I think that it comes into play. Like, her mental state is going to be a serious factor there. All of a sudden this person's credibility comes into question, because it's like, is she saying this because she's not well and she's paranoid, or is she saying this because that's her experience and she actually has some insight into this? So
100%. And also, like, how do they prove that though in court? I'm not a lawyer.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
Like, how do you like, do they get experts? Like, does she have to go under medical? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, does she have to do a psych eval? Like, what?
I honestly have no idea. And I know that as far as like Jones versus Abel, the actual case Jones versus Abel, they don't even have a trial date. So, but we're just looking at Lively Baldoni, and we're looking at the third party stuff by Jen Abel. So I don't know how that's going to come into play. I don't know if they've already had experts who came in and talked about that kind of stuff. We can't see that, right? So I have no idea. I just don't know. But that's a good question.
So that, because I feel like there were psych evals that were done in the.
I forgot, she was trying to FaceTime people at funerals to confirm that they were at the funeral. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. This lady was acting fucking crazy.
Why did they work with her? Why did they stay there?
Well, I mean, so if you think about it, like, Jen Abel wanted to leave, but she wanted to start a place of her own where she could basically operate under her own standards. And so, but she couldn't in the meantime have no income, I'm assuming, because she has bills to pay. So I'm assuming that she was just hanging on by a thread until she could go off on her own, which is why she gave the month's notice, right? So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I just feel like, in the end, it still feels like, even though I am leaning more, so in general, and I'm thinking about this all in a big picture. Even though from all the documents that I've seen, I lean more pro Baldoni, and I know Jen Abel is on Baldoni's side. I do think that Abel is wanting Jones Works to pay for this fire that she allegedly started in their house while she was trying to sneak out the back door with the matches.
Yeah.
So it's hard to side with Jen Abel reading this document.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how it's designed, and I think her lawyers were effective. I think they were very snarky at times, but
good. Yeah, they're snarky, but they did good.
I think they did well enough to get this taken.
Where did you see the Rock comment? I'm like,
so it's not in this document, and it's not in the exhibits to this document. It's in the declaration they filed last night in support of her motion for spoliation sanctions. But they said Katie Case testified that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had something to do with those websites. So if you just go to that document and just like Control F Johnson. You'll find it.
You know, I never knew that my, like, why would,
yeah,
why would, well, I like Dwayne. I do. I'm sorry, I'm a rock stan. I am.
I actually don't have a problem with what he did, because I feel like the way that he was wronged by Stephanie Jones when he was going out the door, from the little bit that I know, I feel like, you know what? Fine, fuck it, fight for yourself. You know, fight back. I don't give a shit.
Like a website like that is like such an emotional, like, you know what I mean?
The websites in and of themselves, I feel like if he had something to do with it, I don't have a problem with it. But I feel like the websites weren't entirely of the Rock's making. I feel like what he probably did was contribute.
Not like he went on there and made it himself. It was literally like,
no, so
and said, yeah, fuck her reputation up and just do it.
Right.
Like,
when he was working with Katie Case, what he probably did was contribute a statement to the website. He probably contributed a story to the website, whereas like, I was a client of Stephanie Jones and XYZ happened. You know what I mean? I don't think that he actually said, make these websites and create all these stories. No, because there were already disgruntled former employees of Stephanie Jones. And are you surprised, because of all the stuff about the funeral calling and all that stuff? Disgruntled former employees of Stephanie Jones who wanted to come together and make a statement. And so I feel like he probably just contributed to that.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So I'm not a hater. I think that if he wants to stick up for himself and be like, Stephanie Jones was a heinous bitch, cool, do it.
Yeah.
So,
hey,
you know.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going on this. Jones warned Baldoni, blah, 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 working with Nathan. We've heard a lot about that. At the same time, Ava was onboarding Nathan behind Jones's back. She was colluding with Nathan to take JonesWorks clients. So we have seen some texts saying, like, once she's gone from JonesWorks, like they're saying here, they're going to have accounts together. They're going to make really good money. They're going to be happy. So Stephanie Jones is saying those accounts they were going to be on together were JonesWorks accounts. But... and there's a little bit of a question here in my mind. Those accounts that they were taking from JonesWorks, are they people who were just like really attached to Jen and wanted to go with Jen?
Or people that Jen convinced to go with her?
Right. That's the question. I don't know. So
and
I guess we're going to have to wait and see.
And also you don't know people's personalities. Like, PR professionals can be like, you know what I mean? Like, and also it depends on where they're at in their careers. So if Jen Abel is young and she's hungry and she's willing to bow down, do whatever, and she's willing to do whatever and sacrifice whatever, maybe she's more willing to please a client and do what needs to be done versus Stephanie Jones, who is like, I've been doing this for decades. I've got, I'm sitting pretty. I'm going on vacation. I'm doing my thing. Like, I'm not that concerned about your PR crisis.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
That's, this whole situation with the publicist is so messy. And what people don't realize, because most people who follow this case or know about this case, they only know about it from the headlines. They only know about it from the mainstream headlines, what they see on Facebook, what they see on Twitter or whatever. And it's like TMZ, that, like People
Facebook
Magazine, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And there's so much more to this story, and it all starts in the background with these publicists. And it's actually really complex. I'm like, I actually don't fucking know sometimes who was in the right or the wrong here. I understand that from a personal standpoint and a moral standpoint, I feel that Jen Abel, I think that she was in the right. But from a legal standpoint and from a contractual standpoint, maybe not. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of complexity here and a lot of drama here that the larger public is not seeing, just because they're only paying attention to the salacious headlines about sexual harassment. So, oh, you're muted, by the way.
Sorry. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, they are only paying attention to the salacious headlines because that's what everybody wants. That's the spicy stuff, right? What does it matter if somebody's being truthful or not being truthful? Like, some people don't care about that.
Some of the spiciest stuff with the largest implications comes from the publicist lawsuit. So it's just, it's so frustrating when I read comments on like various social media sites. I'm like, I have to leave. These people don't know.
I'm triggered. I'm literally triggered and I'm going to freak out. Yeah. I've kind of built up a wall of like this, like when I see things that are upsetting to me, I just go, they're just, you can't control it all and you can't stop everything. So you have to step back.
By the way, before I forget, DFJ and Michelle and any mods who are here, can you link to Katie's channel in the chat here?
You have mods?
Oh, I do. I told you to do that. You reached out to me before you did your first stream. I was like, have mods.
Or I don't. Girl, do you think I'm organized enough to have mods? The whole time I'm like, I think I have this pulled up. Let me get it figured out here.
Well, I see lots of people who are in your chat here, so let me give you a recommendation. Jessica Lisi's around a lot. You give her a mod wrench. Let's see. There's some other people here, but I'm trying to.
So you give them a mod wrench and they can edit your comments or what?
So let me hang on. I'll show you how to after this. How about that?
We'll go through it. Yeah. Some other day. Thank you. But you don't have to. Like maybe we'll do a paid education time. Like you can
paid education time.
Your time is important. You're an important person. And I think you know what I mean? You just have to. I would love to learn from you someday if you have time.
Yeah. I'm important to my dog. I like to put that on my resume.
What kind of dog do you have?
Some Morkie, Maltese Yorkie.
Morkie and
I can only have certain types of pets because of allergies. So that's one of them. So that's one.
Or is it what's that? Do you sneeze a lot, or is it?
I do both, and all kinds of stuff. I break out like all over my face and neck and arms, and it's crazy. So,
what's the dog's name?
Butter.
Is Butter a girl or a boy?
No, a boy. Yeah, my last one was Muffin. Muffin was a girl. Yeah, same type. So I've always had the same type because it doesn't make me break out.
Did Butter and Muffin exist together?
I wish. No, she died a few months before I got him. So,
I'm so sorry. R.I.P. Muffin, but Butter.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. We're all good now. But I have her paw print on my arm there. You can kind of see it. I think right there. So. That's all good.
That's a big paw print.
Well, I had the size was like this small, and I knew that as I got older, it was gonna get weird with the way your skin changes when you get older. So I was like, can you make it a little bit bigger, but the same paw print? You know what I mean?
No, I love that. I love it.
She was a tiny little thing. So.
Give some hugs to Butter, and I have Ralph. I go with I love old man and old lady names for pets. I've always been that vibe. So I had a Hank for a long time, and then now I have Ralph. So
yeah, I name mine things that sound dumb if you yell at them.
What did you?
Yeah. So I had a really bad experience with that recently. Like not recently, but it was 2 years ago or so. Maybe even 3 years ago now, closer to 3 years, 2.5. Butter, I took Butter to the vet, and I was bringing him back from the vet, and I was caught in rush hour traffic, and it was raining, and we were getting on the on-ramp to the interstate, and some guy in a truck behind me hits me in the back. And so I have to get out and talk to him. And again, raining, rush hour traffic. And so I'm like, Butter, stay right there. And usually he's a good boy in the car. So I was like, okay, fine. But I opened the door a little bit, and he finds his way out because he was so small at that point. And he starts running around the on-ramp to the interstate. In rush hour traffic, I've just been hit by a car, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, Butter! Butter! You know what I mean? So I'm like screaming Butter and waving around and like freaking out. And like my dog is so small that the cars behind me, who are now getting stacked up in rush hour traffic, can only see a schizophrenic appearing woman shouting Butter and waving her arms around the middle of the street. At some point, I fell over onto the ground, and he was like, oh shit, it's not time to play anymore. So he decided to behave. So he came back. But it went on like that for at least 5 minutes. So traffic was a little heavy that day.
That is the best story I've ever heard. That is so good. Butter from the back. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I grew up in a household where my dad said dog names or animal names need to be one syllable, so you can just scream them real good. But I don't know if Stephanie Jones would agree with that. I don't know.
Oh God, yikes. Okay, so let's we'll try to get back on track here because I like to go.
Where are we at? Page 7. Where are we at? Page 8.
Yeah. So do you know anything that we should skip to, or
go scroll down there? Get to the arguments. We want to start arguments. It starts at And we're close. We're very close. Oh, too far. No, there we go. Back up.
There you go. You want to read that paragraph?
Yeah. Argument. I can read it. Yeah. Genuine disputes of material fact exist as to each of the essential elements of Jen Abel's common law indemnification claim. So whether Abel's conduct falls within the scope of her employment, the threshold requirement for common law indemnification depends on what she actually did. And the parties fundamentally dispute this question, which this is why I think this whole document is very well set up to get her to beat motion for summary judgment, because her arguments say there is so many fundamental questions that are disputed between what actually happened that they need a jury to help decide. It can't be decided just by the fact of law. So the parties also dispute whether Abel bears responsibility for the actions underlying Lively's claims, whether she acted furtherance on her own competing self-interest, whether her conduct was foreseeable to Jones Works, and whether Jones Works knew and authorized the specific actions. So each of these material disputes preclude summary judgment. So they did a great job. That is a aces paragraph. Like, they did great. And then you go through and their arguments, they do just such a great job. So let me pull up my notes. Hold on. So I have them. Because I did like little chicken scratch notes, of course, where I'm like literally like one little thought. Here's my other little thought. That's just how my brain works.
Yeah.
Not sure how yours works, but
it doesn't.
Oh, that's so not true. We're so but
hello, Omar. Omar, my lawyer friend who's on my streams all the time. I don't know if you know him. The Tilted Lawyer says mealy cunt.
What is that? What is a mealy cunt? I don't know.
So Cassidy O'Connell, I don't know if you know Cassidy.
Yeah, I've heard in the name. Yeah.
Something in one of our streams together about mealy apples, right? And then Omar said, because I like to use the C word all the time, he was like, he said something about mealy cunts, and it bothers me. So now everybody says it all the time. So
I'm like a the C word. I swear like a sailor, but the word cunt coming out of my mouth.
Cunt. We just both got banned from YouTube, by the way. I'm just kidding. Omar says, miss you all. Like, we miss you too. Omar will be back soon, guys. He's
Omar,
just busy.
So nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Katie. But
who's Katie?
Yeah, who is that? Who is that? Some crazy lady in Kansas City.
She sounds like a mealy cunt.
Sounds like a mealy cunt. Yeah, I am. I probably am. Yes. So as we go through, so if you get to page 19, so this is like the indemnification is premature. So the whole page just basically goes through and it says indemnification. So
sorry, are we talking 19 in the PDF or 19 on the bottom here?
Nope, right where you're at. You're good.
Okay.
You're good right here. Yeah. It says so Jen Abel wants Jones Works to pay her legal bills, and that as far as I understand, I have not seen any lawsuits where, and I tried to find a couple where it's not decided before trial, and that's what they argue as well. The courts do not grant indemnification early, and that Jen Abel is jumping the gun per se. So she's trying to check out of the hotel while someone is still ordering room service. And it's like, so yeah, it's just kind of a funky thing. So as you go through, where are we at? Factual disputes, underlying yeah. So these are the arguments that they're making to try and they just want to get past this speed bump. They want to get past the summary judgment speed bump.
Mm-hmm.
I have to cough. Excuse me.
You're permitted.
I'm literally like I'm fighting. I don't know how I'm talking so much. I'm doing so good.
Her Majesty grants your cough. It's fine. This is unhinged. Like, this is so unhinged.
I try to do my best. Oh my gosh. I forgot on my own live. I'm like, fuck it. I'll leave it. I'm not even gonna mute myself. Like, you guys can stick around. It'll be fine. Like, it's fine. So then they get into what we can potentially call the digital smear campaign allegations. And the part that I fucking hate the most out of all of the MSJs that I've read today, which are all of what, 3, is the changing of how everybody calls this. It's considered the retaliation, right, of Blake Lively's main campaign, but everybody calls it something different. And the digital smear campaign, I think, is the one I don't like the least. But I don't know. Anyways, but
well, it just sounds nasty. Smear.
The digital smear campaign, you're like, okay, digital, okay, yeah, what kind of digital? Like, you know, it's what kind of psychological warfare have we been putting on each other through the media? Because I saw the headlines today. It was wild.
So ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, the circumcision.
I mean, so I don't know if you read through the depositions.
I did, yeah. Well, I read through those parts of it, yeah.
Okay, so like he mentioned that, so they were in her apartment, I guess, or her penthouse, whatever. And so it was her, Ryan, and Justin,
and 18 nannies,
and a million nannies in her home where she felt comfortable, and she was either about to have a baby or just had a baby. And the topic of circumcision came up. And that's how that whole no talking about genitalia thing arrived in the 17-point document, was that the topic of circumcision came up while they were at Blake Lively's home. And she was talking about her either, baby or soon to be born baby.
Well, Lauren, she was pregnant. Lauren, do you have children?
No, I have a dog, like I just said.
No, yep. So I have, but I also have children, and I have a boy and I have a girl. So I will tell you, as a mom, the topic of circumcision, people will come up to you and go, so "What are you gonna do? Are you gonna cut his wiener off?" And you're like,
happens. Yeah.
Am I? I don't know. I'm just a lady. I don't know. I don't have a penis. Right. Like, how do I? And so, but it is very much like being a pregnant woman. I experience it all the time. Like other moms would be like, "What are you guys going to do?" And you're like, "Didn't even think about it. Honestly, I have no idea." I guess that's a thing.
Here's what I expect will be part of their response. And we have to wait for their response because they do get a chance to respond to everything that she said tonight. They get a chance to file a reply to the response. Here's what I expect from that, about that conversation. She felt very comfortable with him, as she's seen in their text messages back and forth, where she was saying things like yummy, ball buster, never with teeth, and stuff like that. And Ryan was talking to him about his perineum and just saying all this like crazy stuff, perineum, however it's pronounced, saying all this crazy stuff about private parts. And like, so they obviously had a rapport. They were not just co-workers, they were friends. And so when you're in their home, it's not unheard of that the topic of circumcision, a common topic among soon-to-be parents, would come up, especially if they're talking about, intimate stuff like that. The way that we've seen in text messages, they did talk to him intimately about intimate details. So
let me stop you there. So you have you did forensic psychology, but you worked in a, you were ER intake for the psych. Yeah. You understand.
So I didn't do like somebody else did. They would do the intake. Then the person would get assigned to a bed, either a psych bed or maybe this is a psych bed. So if they came in voluntarily, they would get one area of the ER. And if they actually came in involuntarily, they would get the other area of the ER. And I saw both types of people. So they would consult me on various patients to decide with the doctor, because the ER doctors are not specialized in psych. So they needed somebody who just worked on psych to help them make a decision. They would ask me to help them make a decision about whether or not somebody needs to be involuntarily committed against their will for the 72 hours, or, hey, there is a lesser plan of care that we can go with here that's less restrictive, going to cause less stress for the patient, and can still adequately address their problems, that kind of thing. So I did psych evals. Basically, the doctors... What's that?
What psych hold they're gonna do, like whether
so the doctors would get them and do the medical workup, and then they would call me for the psych eval. So I would do the psych eval, and I wouldn't give a diagnosis because I didn't have a PhD or anything like that. So I didn't diagnose, but I did a psych eval in the sense that I evaluated their symptoms and determined what was life threatening versus what is chronic and what could be treated, or what was just like an acute crisis, in the sense that like somebody with a personality disorder might say something they didn't mean, that kind of thing. So it's hard to explain in like 2 seconds.
No,
but
no, I 100%. So
yeah.
I'm a dietitian. I work in behavioral health. Like
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah. Though, so I guess the reason why I brought it up is because the point I was trying to make was, have you ever heard of the term masking?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So a lot of times,
well, I hear that just in regular life.
right, even in regular life, but not a lot of people understand what that fully means, and some people haven't heard of it. But
Yeah.
a lot of people really navigate life by masking, and what that means is they put on a mask, or they try and ask or be somebody that they are not. And I do think that, in a sense, that when you are in a room with intimidating, powerful people, you may feel like you need to mask, or you may feel overwhelmed, or etc. And so I do not. So you said that you think that they had a rapport, they were friends, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's true. I personally think that Justin walked into this situation, was like, I'm in this room with these people that are, and they probably act like that around everyone. Like, oh yeah, my perineum, my whatever, we're just all circumcisions, like trying to be funny, because that's what they portray in movies, and that's what they do in their acting roles, right? And so I think that they're trying to uphold their reputation and just be these cool, laid back, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that Justin probably masked a little bit and was like, but then when they started trying to turn it back on him, it was like, oh, so that's whole circumcision situation was like, yeah.
Well, I'm sure it was something that they brought up flippantly, and that maybe he assigned more value to that conversation than they did. And I say that
they tried to turn it back on him with the lawyer.
Yeah, I get that. Like, Justin has been very well. He's said, at least in text messages that we've now seen, whether or not he meant for those things to be seen or not. He talked about his neurodivergent status, and I am ADHD. My whole life I struggled with that, and then I was late in life diagnosed on the spectrum. So I understand the oversharing, the trying deeply to understand things in a way, maybe misinterpreting things, over apologizing, stuff like that. So I feel like that's ultimately why I related to him a lot in the stuff that he was doing, like the voice note that people think was so creepy. I'm like, I listened to that and was like, no, this guy is like deeply overthinking about this, being apologetic, trying the best he can to,
And he's probably like, damn, I shouldn't have sent that right after he sent it.
Oh, I bet. No, he's trying so hard to do the right thing. And as you can see from like what we've uncovered in this whole case, in the documents and the exhibits and the text messages, it's like he couldn't do anything right. But for somebody who's neurodivergent, that's a destruction spiral, because you're going to keep trying to find the right thing to do, even when you can never get it right. So,
but one of my favorite things was seeing his partner, so Emily Baldoni. Her message. Have you seen that one that people have been posting about, where she's like, fuck no, we're gonna fight him to the end? I'm like, yes. Yes, quick. So that's that guy that's like, overthinking everything, like, should I do this, should I not do this? And he's got her in his corner where she's like, no, babe, you're not gonna do any of that, you're gonna fight them, they're not gonna take you down, like, let's go, let's do this,
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
I know. Sorry, I'm aggressive. It's 9 p.m.
No. I don't care about that.
Oh, it's 10 p.m. where you are. Oh
well,
my God.
Yeah, but I keep in mind I was doing this until like 2:30 last night, so it's not late for me right now.
Babe, do you sleep?
Sometimes.
Oh my goodness. I gotta be up at 4:30 for CrossFit, so we gotta do fun things. I know. I love it. It's so fun to be strong. I know a lot of people hate it, but it's
I was a student athlete through college, so I did swimming for like 18 years.
Really?
And then and then after I graduated, I did a little bit in grad school. I did a little bit of master swimming after my NCAA career, and then after that I just quit, and I was like, I don't want to do anything again.
So sorry, everybody. We've given up on this. We're just learning about each other right now.
We don't care. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we don't care. It's like we're an hour in and we're like, we're getting to know each other.
Has it been an hour? Oh my God.
I know, right? Like, but no, you like, so love that for you. Like, love everything about it. She doesn't sleep enough, Katie. I'm a scientist. Sleep is so important. Like, so important.
Yeah.
But regardless, we know this. Okay, we can get back. So our document, let me go. Well, where are my notes? Let me find my notes.
We're looking at Katie's notes tonight because I'm off.
So. We're at page 20. Where's my page 20? Keep scrolling.
Is this it?
Work responsible indemnification. Able must so page 21 is like where they start getting into record. Why is it so small on StreamYard? That's
Do you want me to hang on?
No, it's okay. You don't have to make it so big.
There you go.
How do we do that? You're gonna have to teach me your tricks. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this page is where they start getting into she was responsible for fault and the conduct that forms the basis for Lively's complaint. So they're basically saying that she not only participated in wrongdoing, but she was the motivator for it. And therefore, she should not get indemnification. That's pretty much the gist of that. They get into an argument, page... Keep going. Scroll a little bit more. They get into an argument that Abel acted for herself and not Jones works. And so they're talking about like Abel's trying to poach clients and that argument of like, was she actually quitting? Was she not? And why is she taking people with her? And that kind of back and forth overall. Okay. But there was also allegations, and I'm trying to find the sentence. Scroll down just a little bit of where she hid everything that she did. And that's why Stephanie Jones felt motivated to take her phone. The vicarious liability without actual fault. Proposed indemnity. Keep scrolling. Yeah. Okay, let me pull it up on my... Okay, hold on. And then I will have it up. So, yeah, I don't know how you guys... Are you guys cool with silence? I love a good...
Do you want to put your notes on the screen? Because we can do that.
Oh, gosh. No. Next time, maybe?
We're done. No, I'm just kidding.
If anything, I'm like literally it's mixed in with like my client notes and like other... I'm like,
let's see it.
I've got a YouTube description over here that I copy paste in through it. It's literally
fine. We're cool with silence. I'll just read comments while you are in the silence because Omar is talking right now and I'm trying to pay attention to both of you. Omar says he's had too much coffee. I'm 45. I think it's too late, Bruce. Omar, you're 45? I thought you were like 57. Wow. I think every guest
Omar's
Lauren has
halfway to the...
Yeah. I think every guest Lauren has on now is going to have to say it. Initiation ritual. Well, you said it, so it counts. Yeah. Let's see. What are you guys arguing about here? I would time out the entire chat AVE style. But how did she do that? Whoa, Lauren, no wonder you kicked Omar's ass swimming. No, I hadn't swam in a long time. And Omar barely knows how to swim. So it was a fair fight, okay? We did do that. Let's see. I think Justin is a genuine person, and I think he converses with meaning. Like, he values the conversation, and those people's probably seem to be a complete 180 of his style. I agree with that entirely, Sandy B4595. I think that Justin thinks very deeply. I think that he thinks and feels things very deeply, and Blake and Ryan are very kind of like, and I even got this impression a long time ago, like back when I was in high school and stuff, and I was like, oh, the people from Green Lantern are a couple, you know what I mean? They like roast each other. I'm like, oh, they're like funny, like fun people. I never got the sense that they were like deep thinkers. And that's not to say that they don't have any like deep thoughts or emotions that they share with each other, but their normal style of like relating to people didn't seem to be the same as Justin's, which is, and there's nothing wrong with being one or the other, right? Which is Justin thinks very deeply, feels very deeply, reflects a lot, and second guesses himself a lot because he's trying very hard to be the right kind of person to be the best man that he can be for everyone in his life. He thinks about that very deeply. Whereas like somebody like Ryan or a Blake, in my opinion at the time, they were more like funny and like lighthearted and carefree, and they like knew they were very confident in who they were. They were confident in how they interacted with the people around them, and they didn't worry about it so much. And there's different types of personalities like that, and it doesn't mean one or the other is better. right? It just means that they're different. So I think that Justin, I agree, he's a genuine person. He has a lot of meaningful conversations like that, a lot of deep conversations. He doesn't think too much about, or he does think too much, actually. And he doesn't have too many conversations that are just like, oh, haha, fun, whatever. So yeah, so when somebody does something to a neurodivergent person like Justin, like talk about their perineum and stuff like that, he's probably thinking, oh, we're like really close friends. He probably interpreted that as they had the kind of relationship where he could talk about stuff like his past trauma. And then when he brought it up, and the people who were a little less, deep into that relationship, or slower to form deep relationships, were like, oh my God, what the fuck are you talking about? I really do think it was like a clash of personalities and relationship types there. But the problem is that Blake, rather than recognizing their differences, communicating about it, and moving on in a better way, decided to try to punish him for it in a scorched earth way. And, now here we are. So anyways, hopefully that makes sense. Oh, Katie, you're muted, by the way. I don't know if you were.
I do know that. I'm back. I was letting you go on you got on your soapbox. You did a great job.
I always do.
Figure out the best way to conclude. So, because there's only like 11 pages left, and I have some notes, but I'm like, let me figure out. So this is the way that I think we can conclude, because it's just the arguments and the conclusion is what's left.
No problem. Whatever you want to do here is fine. So
what I'll say is, like, so what they're arguing in the rest of their arguments is that the facts are a disaster and that they can't decide anything right now. Okay. So like, that's where they're kind of like, everything is, they need a jury. They can't do this at motion, like the summary judgment. They need to move past this part. And then they get into the Abel can't prove that she was not at fault, and that she didn't have responsibility for any of the harm because she was active in all of the moving parts. And then I put down, like, I wrote indemnification is dead, and I don't know why I wrote that, but
okay.
Like, if she participated in any wrongdoing, then I think that's what I was kind of going with, was like, then that means it's gone. Indemnification is dead, right?
Okay, sure.
But Abel acted for herself. She didn't act for Jones Works. And that they didn't see that this was going to happen, and that, it has to go to the jury. That is their whole argument, but I think they do a very good job of reading it. So if Abel doesn't get indemnified, she wasn't following orders. She was acting for herself. Her behavior was unforeseeable, and there are too many factual disputes to end this case right now. So they have to take it to jury.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense to me, I think. Stephanie Jones, like I said, she started out the filing saying Jen Abel's talking out both sides of her mouth. She's pretty dramatic when it comes to Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan, but it doesn't mean they don't have a point here. So
I have a proposal for you.
What's up?
Do you
I can't marry you. No, I'm just kidding. What's up?
I'm already married, so we can't. I don't know if I can marry you, but I would.
Well, that's why I said no. No, I'm just kidding. What's up?
No, do you want to go over the Jed Wallace text messages that were unsealed?
I do, but I can't because I have to go to bed or I'm going to die.
You go to bed. Okay, that's what we need to do, something different. Okay, or whatever. But
yeah, okay. No, we'll do another one another day. Obviously, another day when I'm not so tired, because last night, like I said, I was streaming until 2:30 a.m. and then I came back at 8 a.m. to stream again. So
there's so much we could be doing this for days. But I've loved getting to know you and to learn more about you. And thank you so much for bringing me on.
Oh yeah, of course. No, we'll come back and we'll do that, because I haven't gone over that shit, so I have to do that. And obviously, I hate doing that shit alone. So.
Let me say, just snooping. Clark is, so I've been talking to Clark, and
what's up, Clark?
He was busy today, so he didn't go and get it. But I think people have been barking, like, without a crystal ball, like, made a whole Reddit post about, like, Clark needs to go get it, and you're like,
no, I don't. So I don't look at Reddit much anymore. The lawsuits, the ends with lawsuits Reddit. I used to like it a lot because it was very neutral. And like, even if people
changed, they've stopped letting people post.
So even if like people who were very pro Blake Lively were making posts and commenting in that regard, and they said things that I really disagreed with, I was like, okay, but I kind of like getting to see everyone else's perspectives and stuff like that. Yeah. But at some point, it turned into a place where people make personal attacks against content creators and people who have nothing to do with the lawsuit whatsoever. So like I don't like ex-patriarch, right? So I obviously don't like ex-patriarch. But when I see posts about ex-patriarch on the lawsuit sub, I'm like, what does this have to do with the lawsuit? Like, I know I don't like the guy, and in a way, it's kind of somewhat validating to see that other people think he's full of shit too. But I don't want to like make posts about the guy in a neutral subreddit that's supposed to be about the lawsuit. And so that subreddit,
I just think it's odd that it even gets in, because like half of people can't post on there, right?
Oh, I think I might be banned from commenting. Yeah. And all I did was one time say, like, hey, I don't like the direction this subreddit is going in, because I was reading a post about me that was basically like saying horrific, like horrible shit about somebody who was like stalking me to the point they were reading my college op-eds. And I was like, what does this have to do with the lawsuit? So if that subreddit really gives a shit,
I'm gonna find them. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
You can find them, and like they're there. I wrote that shit. I don't care.
No,
like,
I'm not that hard to find either. Like people,
Yeah.
I just, I'm just trying to protect my kids, but I'm not that hard to find either. And
No,
in the end, I think things are just like people get so wild. But like that stuff I agree with, and I think the Reddits have gotten weird. And I think that in the end, the only reason I saw it is because I'm in a group text with a bunch of people that comment on all this stuff, and they were like, hey, look, Without a Crystal Ball once Clark, and I'm like, Clark, are you gonna go do?
Well, so I'll say this. I don't know Without a Crystal Ball too well. We've had some interactions. I don't know her very well on a super personal level, so I try not to, I don't want to say anything negative about anybody, but I understand what you're saying and why that would be frustrating. But like at the same time, I'm like, even if somebody says something that I don't like about somebody that I do like, I'm very, very cautious about how I talk about other content creators on my channel. There are very few exceptions, very few exceptions to where I would be like, I don't like somebody and I think they're a terrible, horrible person who is a danger to others who follow their content. And the rare exception to that rule, it's not Without a Crystal Ball or anything like that. It's like Leslie Dobson. Dr. Leslie Dobson, who circulated the fake HR complaints.
I don't know who that
Don't
is.
Find out.
I have no idea who that is, but in the end, I think that I have had such a good time meeting everybody and getting to know everyone, and everybody's been so great that like I just love following all the stuff, all the community that's come from it. So
well, I'll say this just as one last final note on that subject. Even the difficulty comes especially when I see two people, like, so like there's Clark and then there's Katie Without a Crystal Ball, and I'm like, both people who are doing good work here. And when I see them talking about each other, and I haven't seen anything Clark said, but I'm just using an
things
example.
about each other.
No. I'm just saying, as an example, if people were saying things about each other, because we know it happens, right? Content creators feud publicly and stuff like that.
Why?
My issue is like I almost never have a problem with an individual person. My problems come when people start fighting with each other and they expect me to take a side, to where I'm like, I won't do this. And so like if I ever come to the decision that I like can't communicate with someone or have anything to do with someone anymore, it's like I'm afraid that continuing to engage in this pattern will lead me down a path where I cannot avoid constant conflict or something like that. That's not where I'm at with either of these people. Obviously, Clark and I haven't talked very much. I like Clark. Katie and I haven't talked. Katie Joy and I haven't talked very much. But Katie, I didn't have a problem with Katie. So like I like both of those people. So my concern is that like I'm afraid, and it's like it's in a like a weird neurodivergent thing where I'm like, I'm afraid that these people are going to have a conflict to where it's like people expect me to say something about it, to where I'm like, I don't want to. Like I am okay with both sides of this equation. I know that they're having a conflict with each other, but I don't want to have anything to do with it. So please don't have a conflict. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of what I thought.
I didn't know they were having a conflict with each other.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
So sorry that I brought this.
No. It's my brain where I'm like, your
feelings are, but listen, your feelings are 100% valid.
Oh yeah,
I understand where you're coming from, and listen, hey, I 100% get it.
I have like weird
by that, but what I'll say is that the reason I brought it up is because I saw on Reddit that there was posts from other people that were like, Clark's like, damn, I'm busy today. That was literally all it was. Is he was like, dang, I can't get to it, and so I'm like, PSA for everybody that saw anything. He's busy, so he might get to it tomorrow if he has some time. So hopefully he does, but we'll see. If not, we'll get it when we get it.
I just I have this constant anxiety that there's going to be conflict. I don't know what my problem. It's a personal problem. It happens in my personal life, but sometimes it does carry over into the internet. If I'm like, there's two people here that I respect, and I know that they work very hard, and I'm like, oh no,
everybody. Honestly, like Katie Joy works very hard. I think that Clark works hard, but I think he got banned from Reddit. To be honest,
did he?
There's a lot of people that work very hard, but I'll say that.
I mean, I probably, like I said, I probably got banned from the lawsuit Reddit too. So I frequent the Team JB subreddit every now and then, but other than that, I don't look at Reddit too much anymore.
So
if it's that or Valora
pages anymore, I just search at the bar, like that bar, because I don't have a Reddit. I just go up there and I just do a little boop 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 of the things I'm trying to find, you know. But I think it ends with quartz now, which I don't know what that is.
No idea. I stopped looking at Reddit when people started looking into my personal life from 12 years ago. So I was just like, this is ridiculous.
Oh my goodness. Why?
It has nothing to do with the lawsuit. Like, if you want to have a web, like a subreddit called It Ends With Lawsuits, that's supposed to be like a hub for everything lawsuit related. But then you're pulling up Lauren Knighty's op-eds from when she was 19. I think that we're veering off track a little bit.
My brain was not fully developed at 19. You do not want to see what I was doing at 19. Holy shit. No, thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just my problem is like I have this knee-jerk reaction where I'm like, oh my god, I have so much anxiety that people are gonna have conflict with each other and I'm gonna get dragged into a Reddit fight. And so now I don't look at Reddit.
You know what? I think people try to start stuff with me sometimes and I just ignore it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, it's taken a long time for me to get to a point where I'm like, I'm going to not pay attention to this. And so I'm holding on to that right now. But at the same time, now my conflict is not getting involved when people have disputes with each other and kind of standing my ground and being like, because, you know, some people will say like, well, if you like me or if you're my friend or whatever, you'll like get involved in this way or that. And I'm just like, no, I don't do that. You know, I don't want to do that.
Nobody should ever put you in that position. Don't let people do that. No,
I'm not talking about YouTube people. I'm just talking about people in my personal life.
Anybody or your parents. Oh, our parent generation, they're like, don't talk to your dad like that. And you're like,
yeah,
I'll talk to him however I want to. Oh my gosh, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm sure people can tell. I just get so anxious when it comes to people talking about each other. I'm like, please don't fight. I don't want to be involved. You know what I mean? So
well, hey, thank you for sharing. And no, I didn't mean to put you in a weird position, but
you didn't.
You know what fights I love? I love when Jen Abel and Stephanie Jones get in little beefs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like reading these people's mess because it's a public court case, right? So it's all like fair game, but I'm not going to go and be like, show me whatever else was on Jen Abel's cell phone from 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, that's creepy.
Like steal her cell phone number. Do it. Oh, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Give it back to her.
Yeah.
The spicy bits. Yeah, matcha latte. Okay, people. Well, hey, thank you guys for joining us. I'm gonna let Lauren go to bed because it sounds like she needs go take a hot shower. Like,
no, I'm going to bed.
With water. So, like,
no showers.
Okay, I get you. Okay. Well, it was so good to see everybody. Thank you so much. We're gonna be doing this for days. So
yeah, well, we'll be back. No worries. Yeah. No worries. All right, I will.
How do I don't think I can end this thing. Do I?
Yeah, you have to do it. It'll only let the guest do it. Oh my god, guys! I was totally fucking with her, and she left. That's hilarious. No, only the host can end it. So I'm the only one who can end the stream. That's actually hilarious. I think everybody who's watching Katie's stream should go tell her what just happened because she took that so seriously. She was like, I'm out. Bye. No, the stream's still on. Actually, I want somebody to text Katie in an hour and be like, hey guys, you know, Katie, you didn't end the stream correctly. That was awesome. All right, let me give you a Katie style exit here. And I'm just going to go ahead and